And I think we are live. So what's going on, everybody? I am just gonna do a little live stream tonight. Figured I'd do some Q&A, hang out, talk about a few things for the new year. Just kind of, just have a good time with you guys for a little while. So yeah, let's, a couple of things to talk about. So big announcement is we just hit 20K subscribers. So a huge thank you to all of you guys. That was amazing. So I want to thank you all so much for that. The latest giveaway for the Squadrons pack just was announced yesterday. Yeah, it was announced yesterday. So check yesterday's video if you haven't already. But yes, and there's plenty more coming. There's plenty more coming. There's actually some cool non-gaming related Star Wars things coming out fairly soon that I'm tempted to give away instead of always it being gaming stuff, because there's a lot of other really cool things that I'd like to review and look into and kind of branch out a little bit more while still staying true. So that's like one of the things that I'm looking at doing, like the Mace Windu Force Effects lightsaber, for example, is supposed to come out later this month. So I'm really interested in getting a hold of one of those, and so I might do like a Force Effects lightsaber giveaway or something like that. And it would still be in the form, it would probably be like in the form of like an Amazon gift card, so you could still use it for whatever you wanted, so that's kind of, but it generally brings in a broader appeal. And my mindset right now is that if I can, cast a wider net and reach a broader Star Wars based audience, perhaps I can encourage more people to start playing these games that we love, because you get a hold of more Star Wars fans and you're like, oh, hey, you like Star Wars, but have you seen Armada? Have you seen Legion, etc.? And then, just grow the entire hobby. And, I think it's a kind of a win-win situation. Everybody's happier, so that's kind of the thing. So that's pretty cool. 2019 is going to be super awesome because we have so much Star Wars stuff coming out in 2019. Like, do you guys even realize there's so much? We're getting episode 9, which I actually have really high hopes for. Probably higher than I should have. I shouldn't get them up that high, but there's so many things. So I'm going to go back to episode 9. But we also have Disney Plus that's going to be airing. So we're going to get The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian should premiere this year. That one, I think everybody's excited for that one. Even the people who are like jaded by The Last Jedi or weren't happy with it, I think they're still a little excited about The Mandalorian. So that much is really, really cool. But yeah, so Mandalorian's coming. We have so many other things. We've got the Clone Wars. The rest of the Clone Wars is coming. We've got a Thrawn book coming in a few months too. Thrawn Treason, that's coming out. We've got the rest of Star Wars Resistance, which I'm okay with. Like, it's a thing. To me, it's almost like Forces of Destiny. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Okay, it's all right. I think it's going to be getting better, but it's nowhere near like what Star Wars Rebels was. Star Wars Rebels was like a really big deal, and Star Wars Resistance is just not that big of a deal. So yeah, so that's, there's also a new membership option for my channel that's supposedly gonna go live at some point. I don't know if you guys even see the option. Basically, like there's certain things that I get from YouTube, like communications, like community-wide messages and everything. And one of the things is, like, I was able to enable like channel memberships, and it's basically almost like a Patreon kind of thing, where it's like $5 a month, and then you become a member of the channel and you can get certain exclusives, and the longer you stay a member, the more badges and things you unlock. You get special emojis that you can use, and also like member only streams and things like that. And there's all kinds of other stuff that goes along with it, but when I researched it, because I wanted to, before I take anybody's money for anything, I want to make sure I understand what all is involved, and making sure that I can make it a value for anybody who wants to do it. it seems like that's not even available to people that don't have at least 30,000 subscribers. So I'm probably, I'm unsure why they like had me set it up and all this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. All right, so yeah, so we'll see. That may be coming at some point. I don't know if they just made a mistake and I just set it up like a year in advance. I'm hoping to make 30,000 by next year. Maybe go a little faster than that if I branch out. But so far, I mean, like, you guys are awesome. This community is awesome. But like, I've been pretty. It took me years to get started, and into actually making the channel a success, because it was not a success when it first started out, and it took probably about 3 or 4 years or so before it actually started to grow and be successful. But since it has, I've been doubling. Like, I went from like 2,500 to 5,000 in 1 year, and then I went from 5,000 to 10,000 in 1 year, and technically it was over 1 year because I hit 10,000 right around New Year's, but in December of last year, or the year before rather. So it took me just over a year to get to double that again. So I'm like, well, that's really, it almost feels like it's picking up steam. It seems like the more you have, the more you can gain. It's weird. No more crazy eye sillies, you dope. That was fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. You got to have a little bit of fun with your hobbies from time to time. And I've even I kept a couple of them on there. I even played a couple of games with them on there so far. My kids love them though too. That's another thing, is like my kids don't get to go out and in my area and mess with my Armada and X-Wing stuff and my Legion stuff very much. But when they do, and like a kid's like, "Dad, what's that?" It's like it's so funny, So yeah, we can do a couple of, we can do some questions as well, and just in general chat. Am I hyped about the next episode of the Vader fan film? I don't know what the Vader fan film is. I guess I don't know. I have no idea. So if you've got a like a link or something, I'll try and check it out soon. But generally, fan films don't get me hyped. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them. They may be interesting, but like, hype is, for me, I get very, very hyped over things that are going to be canonized, because then they have repercussions into other things. Like I'm really hyped over Episode 9 because I'm expecting a really big space battle, and that will have repercussions into tabletop gaming. So there'll be more ships and maybe more factions and maybe new life for Star Wars Armada and things like that, right? So I get really hyped because, like, in my head I see this domino effect of, oh, Mara Jade was in this fan film. Oh, well, that's cool. But Mara Jade was in something that's canon. Oh, well, that means X, then Y, then Z, and so on and so forth. So I get more hyped over things that are actually canonized, even if they're not great. Like Star Wars Resistance. It's a kids show. It's all right. It's not great. I still watch it. I watch it with my kids. They enjoy it. It's good for what it does, but it's not something I'm really enamored with. But I do get a little bit excited if they canonize something. So like that red TIE Interceptor is actually really cool, because now we know another ship for the First Order. So, like things like that. Like I'm able to find something cool, and even something that I'm not crazy about. Same thing with Solo, a Star Wars story. Not maybe my least favorite Star Wars movie, but it was still well done. I found a lot of good things in it, But the saga films just do a lot better for me, and because I don't know, I'm more attached to that whole arc and story and stuff. All right, so let's see. Do you have any fish? No, I do not have any fish. I can't even elaborate on that one. I have a dog now. Dog was not supposed to. We weren't supposed to have a dog, but we do have a dog now. It's a long and complicated story that you don't want to hear. But he's a good dog. He's cute. He's a good dog. He's good to the kids too. The Vader fan film is amazing. We'll link it. Watch it right now. It's worth it. Nobody wants to sit here and watch me watch a Vader fan film. Shards of the Past by Star Wars Theory. Oh, okay. All right. I will make a note of that. I will actually write that down. I've got a ghost pencil here. Shards of the Past. Vader fan film. Alright. Yep. So, he has Lucasfilm's blessing. That's different than it being canon. But that's certainly cool. I'll still take a look at it. It doesn't have to be canon to be good, but it helps. You know. Alright. Alright. Let's see. Oh, I'm looking for some stuff. Get some fish. Got too much other stuff to. They would die. I wouldn't be able to take care of them. Are you going to make it to the Armada tournament this Sunday? There's an Armada tournament this Sunday? I didn't even know. Holidays have me all kinds of screwed up. I'm trying to mentally adjust to the post-holiday schedule. It's crazy. It's very crazy. So, the answer to that is, I think so. I hope so. I would enjoy going to play. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got here. All right. So, hey, I've played X-Wing for a while now, but recently I've wanted to get something new, but I'm torn between X-Wing 2.0, Armada, and Legion. Do you have any suggestions out of the three? I mean, that really depends. If you're in love with X-Wing, then keep going with X-Wing 2.0. If you like to paint and or don't mind having to assemble and deal with paint and glue, then Legion is awesome. And it's a really fun game. I really enjoy Legion, but Armada is the best game on the planet. So of course I would suggest Armada. That's definitely a thing. Armada's great, but what has the most? I think Legion has really got a really bright future ahead of it. I'm uncertain just how much of a future Armada has ahead of it right now. I mean, I know it's got at least some of a future. They got the biggest expansion ever coming out for it, but I feel like X-Wing and Legion are like their favorite Star Wars IPs right now, or their favorite Star Wars products, and Armada is taking a back seat to them, at least for the time being. If they announce, we'll see at Gen Con if they finally can say, all right, Clone Wars Armada is going to happen, then we'll, because I'm planning on going, and that's another thing, I'm planning on going to Gen Con again this year, so I'll definitely be pestering them. I'm like, all right, guys, let's get a quote. Let's get a quote. I'll even have to bring like a microphone or something so I can be like, let's get a quote. Yes. All right, let's see. What do you think? What do you think of the idea of Luke crew for Resistance? 2 charges for a friendly ship, range 3, or to roll 2 extra evade dice. I don't know. Is that thematic? Does Luke make ships evade? I mean, it's fine. I mean, honestly, something like that, I can't comment too much, but range 3 or further, so he'd have to be far away. Oh, I see what you. Okay, that's clever. All right, so let's see. Favorite list to run in Legion so far: Palpatine. Palpatine's my favorite. Run Palpatine, a couple of Royal Guard, and I'm happy. I like Palpatine with snowtroopers or anybody who really appreciates getting a free move. He even works well with the E-Webs because they can't move twice in their activations. They have plotting or whatever that keyword is, and so so I really like them for that. So he can help get them in position. So that one's good. For Rebels, I mean, just lots of Rebel Troopers with Z6. I mean, the classics still really good. I like a lot of the stuff in the core set. A lot of those units are really good. Vader's good. Regular Stormtroopers are good. Apparently, I just want to add some special forces, and I'm good. I like the heavy vehicles are fun, but they're not going to win as much. But more Battlestar Galactica content. I would actually like to. I'm going to tell you something about Battlestar Galactica. I have not played it. I know that's like I have a bunch of videos on it. I haven't been able to play it yet. It has to do with the timing when it came out. There was no time for me to play it, and everybody for me to play it with was busy doing other things or wanted to play other games, and I haven't been able to play it yet. I'm trying to set up a game of it soon because, granted, I understand how to play, and I think the system is good. I don't think it's going to be an X-Wing killer because there's too much hidden. Like, it's a game that would be extremely easy to cheat in, and so like you could just, especially with your damages, the damage that you have on you is secret, and you have to voluntarily tell your opponent when you're dead, and so it's not going to be. So I'm okay with a game like that because it's more of a casually friendly, like honor system. You know, let's just have fun, have a good game. But I also feel like it's a game that would work better with each person just controlling their own ship, at least at first. So if you actually had a 2v2, it would make sense for that to be a 4-player game. Just because there's so many things to think about. If you're playing with all of the rules for a ship in Battlestar Galactica, there's a lot of things to think about, your kinetic energy and all that stuff. And until you get the hang of it, trying to manage 2 ships with each with their own decks at the same time, because I have to pick a maneuver from like one of these 30 or 40 cards, it could get frustrating. So I would say, you know, like I'd like to play it just one ship, and maybe a 2v2 game where we're each controlling 2 ships. Be kind of cool. But I want to play it. I just haven't had the opportunity to play it yet. So I want to play it a couple of times, get exposed, you know, get a good feel for it, and then do a battle report with it, and maybe even do like an X-Wing trench run with Battlestar Galactica. I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah. All right. Star Wars Legion question. Does recon intel on Rebel Commandos give you Scout 3? Yes. Those numeric values stack. Do you move speed 3 or do you do a speed 2 and then a speed 1? You move speed 3. That's a good question. Actually, that gets asked an awful lot. So yes, if you have recon intel, which gives you Scout 1 on a unit that has Scout 2, it gives you Scout 3. It doesn't give you Scout 2 and then Scout 1 like you're doing 2 separate moves. You only do one move. It's going to be a speed 3 move. Your Scout value gets increased, so you do a speed 3 move. Same thing for if you have it on the Imperial guys who only have Scout 1, then you have Scout 1 and Scout 1, so you have Scout 2, you do a speed 2 move instead of 2 speed 1 moves. Your daughter will be born this Saturday. Well, congratulations, that's awesome. I hope everything goes well. I hope everything goes well for mom as well. Assuming that, unless if you're mom, I hope everything goes well with you. If mom is not you, then I hope everything goes well with her, because that's always something to consider. But I hope, you know, that's an awesome time, and I'm very, very happy for you. And obviously hope everything goes well with baby as well. But a lot of people only ask about baby. You got to remember, mom has just had a major surgery too, major operation too. That's a big deal for the whole family, and you too. Get some sleep while you still can. Been working on a triple MC75 list. Would love me to do a video build on that one. I'll keep that in mind. It's harder for me to do lists on when I'm less inclined to do a triple MC75 build because I don't have 3 MC75s. So it's like if I liked the build, I wouldn't be able to actually fly it. I could probably borrow one. So yeah, maybe I'll keep that in mind. Do you expect new rules for Epic Armada with the SSD? No, I don't expect new rules. I expect some SSD specific rules that will work for either, larger point games or smaller point games. But I don't expect them to do some extra rules only for that. Whoa, we got a super chat from Will RH 1022. Thank you. What is my favorite fish? Well, that's the weirdest. You definitely like fish. What's my favorite fish? Okay. Let's say maybe a clownfish. My kids watch Finding Nemo. I like clownfish. My grandparents used to have some clownfish. They're very pretty to have too. But that's just like to look at in like a fish tank. As far as like to eat, or yeah. So actually, you talking about like fish to like have as a pet or fish to eat? Because I like tuna to eat, like ahi tuna, like sushi too. Yeah. So, but yeah, probably a clownfish, like in Finding Nemo. Let's see. All right, we're gonna find some more questions here. I probably miss a couple because every once in a while my display, like there's a lot of them and it jumps. Best estimation for SSD release and best estimation for X-Wing Clone Wars faction release. Well, I'm going to say about 3 months. I'm going to guess about 3 months. Now, there's a really interesting thing coming up because it's January, right? We've got exactly 2 weeks until like the anniversary of the day that the very first full previews of Wave 7 were out, which were right here on my channel too, so yeah, which is kind of cool. Because yeah, it was that day where basically I got Wave 7 at my door, and yeah. Pause 1 second. All right, so yeah, it's been like two, and so I think it was about like the 16th or the 17th. The 16th is so. If I don't know, now granted, I don't think I'm getting a review copy of the Super Star Destroyer, but in theory, the next 2 weeks, anything could happen. And if it's not me, it might be somebody else. So we'll look for that. Like I have a feeling it's slightly behind schedule because we still haven't had a single article outside of the very, very first one. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some type of delay with the Superstar Destroyer right now. But I still think it'll be out by March. I would expect maybe the first review copies if they're sending out review copies, and maybe they won't send out review copies for like a high dollar item. I don't know. I think they should. I think they should send me one, especially since I'm like the only person they made take down those spoilers. Like everybody else has them up. They're up everywhere, even on FFG's site. I don't even know why. It's I feel like they just said everybody else can have this except like the one guy who's like most crazy about Armada. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm too hyped. Do I get insider info from FFG that we don't see? If I did, I couldn't tell you. Think about that. I mean, if you didn't see it, like if it was something I could tell you, I would tell you. If there's something I can't tell you, I'm not gonna tell you now. Yeah. But I mean, I will say this: I am on their list of like media folks, so occasionally I'll get like a press release. Most of the time, when I do get a press release from FFG, it's something that they've just announced anyway. So like X-Wing 2nd Edition, they did that, that hyperspace report. And do you guys remember the hyperspace report? Because it was like this big deal. They were going to announce all the new Star Wars stuff. Turned out to be only X-Wing 2.0. After that was over, like 2 hours later, I got an email. It's like, X-Wing 2nd Edition announced. And I'm like, wonderful, thanks for telling me stuff I already know. The only time I got the press release before it was public was when Christian Peterson announced he was retiring. He was the CEO of Fantasy Flight Games. He started everything, designed Armada with Jane Sniffen, and he, created all of this. So when he was stepping down, I thought that was a big deal. I made a video of that right away. But I think by the time my video got out, it was already public knowledge. But that was one thing I actually did get slightly earlier. But generally, stuff like that, I have to have permission to talk about. But it's not like they're not really in the habits of being like, hey, dude, guess what? Super Star Destroyer is actually going to have 4 legs and it's going to walk around like a remote-controlled puppy when you're not playing, But don't tell nobody, Like there's none of that, Which would be really weird if it was, because then I'd be like, I can't tell nobody. Why would they do that? Why would they make it a puppy? Am I planning on attending the Nova Open? I don't think so. It's there is always that possibility I may end up someday moving from Florida up to somewhere closer to DC. I've got a lot of friends and family up there, so like Nova might be something that happens someday. Well, we got another super chat from Green Lantern 223. Big thank you to you, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, so Green Lantern says, thanks for helping me and my friends with some clarifications on rules in Legion. Really, it's a big help. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you and all of you guys. But yes, that's awesome, and I'm happy to help clarify where I can. It's I think that Legion's a pretty confusing rule set, especially if you're not used to it, and there's so many little things in there that do definitely get Will, don't copy me doing super chats. You guys are awesome. But yes, no, thank you for the super chats, guys. I appreciate that, and that's definitely a way to. And it's cool. I don't know if you guys can see the same thing that I see, but it says to me like a big flash, so it's like a great way to get my attention. Speaking of which, let's make an announcement. Because this is going to be a kind of a cool thing for live streams. So because I hit 20,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing another like interactive game with you guys. So I'm probably gonna do Armada, and I actually put up like a post on Patreon a little while ago, asking for list ideas to kind of get my patrons involved in it. But basically, if you're not familiar, I did this a long time ago. I did an interactive game against the community. I haven't set up a time and a place yet, but what I'll do is I'll set the camera up over the table, and I will play against all of you. And the way that will work is, I will obviously take my turn. You guys will tell me which ship you want to activate, and we'll go that way. And that's so it helps also if I end up not having a list that's like 10 CR90s, because then we're like, all right, which one are you guys activating? Well, I don't know which one, that one. So generally, if they're better, unique ships makes it a little easier, or if we can still have maybe two Star Destroyers, and I'll mark them with like big letters or big numbers or something so you can see a little more clearly, or maybe I use a green one and then a white one or something, or the Chimera, some things that'll be visually distinct. So this is going to be something that we work on. I'll be taking suggestions, and we'll probably put fleets together, and that's something I'm letting my patrons go ahead and help me out with too. So those who are interested, and we'll get some fleets put together. We'll do an interactive game. I'll go against you guys. But now, because you're not actually here, you're at a disadvantage because you can't actually look at everything from different angles and stuff. So I'll be measuring things and pointing them out the whole time. But instead of you setting command dials, I will let you just choose what commands you like. When it's all right, this guy's gone. What command is he going to do? And so you'll get to just choose on the fly. So that's kind of how that sort of works. So. Yeah, so that's kind of a big thing that's going to be happening. So hopefully that is something you guys are interested in. I as much as I would like to do it with Legion as well, I feel like it might be trickier to do with Legion because that top-down view that's like a single view. You can't really see all of the battlefield, especially since a lot of my terrain has like multiple levels and arches and things like that. So it might be a little more challenging to do something like that with another games, but yeah, Armada is definitely the plan right now. All right. All right, so big thanks to the to Will RH 1022 and Green Lantern 223 for the super chats. And I definitely appreciate that. I can eat lunch tomorrow. All right, let me get back to some more questions here. Let's see. Did you like the Master of the Fleet, or MOFT? I think you mean MOTF, Battle of Scarif for Armada? Yes, they do amazing themed battles. I know I want to do a Battle of Endor when the Superstar Destroyer shows up, and I'm just excited. I mean, there's a whole lot of things. You could also, we can't really do Battle of Jakku, which would be a great one because you kind of need, the Starhawks. Although you could probably just swap, like maybe use MC-75s as Starhawks or something like that. But yeah, they do great work. When do you expect to hear about X-Wing Epic 2.0? When? Maybe Gen Con? I think that's something. I think they want to flush out 7 factions before they introduce a whole new rule set. I think that's a big task. I think 7 factions in this game that are so unbalanced right now, if you look at the number of ships, and that's why they have the hyperspace format, so they can just say, okay, you can only use the new stuff, so this way everybody's only got 2 or 3 ships. And I get that, but I think that's one of the things they're looking at right now. I think they want to get probably everybody up to like 5 or 6 different ships that they can field with lists, and I think then they'll say, all right, now it's time for X-Wing Epic. However, I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe they may be doing something completely different. I did a whole video about what I think X-Wing Epic would be, and I really like the whole idea of like being able to put stuff in a formation and make an epic game not take so long. But we'll see. You're wondering about Palpatine and Vader in Legion. Can Palpatine give Vader a free move into a free attack? If he can, can he do it when Vader has already attacked? Isn't Vader's activation? Yes, Palpatine can make Vader move, and Vader gets his free, because it's a standard move. So when Palpatine makes somebody move, same goes for snowtroopers. When Palpatine makes somebody move, if that person has something that triggers off of a move, and vice versa, if anybody has anything that triggers off of a move. So like, if your unit has standby, and I move into it, they're going to get to shoot me. So yes, so Palpatine can trigger Vader into a free move. Now that, and thus that free move can then trigger Vader's saber throw or whatever. Same thing with snowtroopers. Now, while that may sound broken, you have to consider you're paying over 200 points to be able to do that. Palpatine is only speed 1. So if you spend all of your time using pulling the strings, which is this ability that gives him a free move or attack to somebody, if you spend all of your time doing that, then you may not get Palpatine into position, because you want Palpatine also to be able to attack with that Force Lightning, that incredible attack. So you're paying 200 points for Vader to be able to attack 1 extra time. And while that's strong, is it really 200 points strong? Because you could fit like 3 full units of stormtroopers in there, which I would probably rather have, right? It's a toss-up. I think Palp is great by himself. I think I would rather run Palp with snowtroopers, which kind of get the same thing. They still get the free attack after they move, and they're a lot cheaper than Vader, because Palp and Vader together, that's more than half your list. That's crazy expensive. So it's not the most ideal thing. But it can be fun, because again, games are supposed to be fun. You don't always have to play to win the tournaments. You can sometimes play a list that's just, hey, this is going to be super cool. It's one of those reasons I want a Gungan army. As a matter of fact, I also want Ewoks now, because after running a bunch of Wookiees, I want Ewoks to be core, so I can run 3 Ewoks, Han as my commander, Chewie, and all Wookiees, and call it a day. This way I'm going to have a whole furry army. Just because it'd be fun, I think it'd be fun. All right. Let's see. Your SSD is coming in April. think April. I think they said Q1, so I'd be surprised if it was April. The toy lightsaber into the CR-90. Yes, that was the Master of the Fleet. They used the lightsaber as the super laser for the Death Star. That was awesome. Those guys are fantastic. I love the stuff that they do. All right. Do you know when the Clone Wars for X-Wing will be expecting to release? I don't know if that's going to be as soon as we think. I think maybe April or May, but I think it'll be by summer. I think we'll have it before July, and I think it'll definitely be out before Gen Con. I think whatever is after Wave 3, I'm guessing Wave 3 will come out first half of this year, and then Gen Con's release will be Wave 4, whatever Wave 4 ends up being, or if it's even a Wave 4. Do you think Armada will have a Resistance and First Order pet? I mean, I don't know what a pet is in Armada. Do you mean like faction? I think they will. I don't think they're going to get that. Not anytime soon. And I wouldn't want them to get it until after Episode 9, because I expect Episode 9 will have a huge space battle. I just don't want them to balance. I don't want them to balance stuff based on only what's out now, and then other stuff comes out, and it's like, oh, like imagine in Episode 9. The resurgent Star Destroyer that the First Order has is dwarfed by a comparison of every single other ship that gets introduced in that movie. And now, like, imagine they made those two factions now. The resurgent would be like one of the best ships in the game. You know, outside of the Super Star Destroyer, it would probably be because it's the biggest, newest, etc. Well, now Episode 9 comes out and makes it look crappy by comparison. You're like, oh, well, crap, we have to make all this stuff and then it screws up your whole game. So I would rather them wait and balance things more appropriately with what we see on screen. Do I want sequel or prequel? Prequel first. Prequels first. I want them both. I don't think I'll get that, but I want them both. But prequels are already done. So we actually do have the full body of work of the Clone Wars. I mean, except we have one more season of Clone Wars, but I don't think there's going to be any like major new ships because it's still before Episode 3. So that one, at least we can balance things appropriately and make sure the balance is there, make sure the fun factor is there, everything is good. So, yes, yeah. All right. Let's see, a lot of questions about the Clone Wars. When will the squadron packs be restocked? I'm hoping like right around the time the Super Star Destroyer launches. I'm hoping that interest for the game will rise up a little more since new stuff is out. People will be playing more. People will see those big Star Destroyers. It's almost criminal for them not to have those. I mean, they're not even painted. The squadron packs, every retailer should have tons of squadron packs of all types in stock at all times. They don't have to be painted. It should be so easy to produce those. I mean, I don't know, but that's what I think. If you are shooting at someone who has light cover over a light cover obstruction is in the way in your line of sight, does that player get heavy cover? No, light cover and light cover do not stack. You have to have something that actually gives heavy cover to give heavy cover. And the only thing that will kind of stack is if somebody has, I believe the keyword is called low profile. And it says when defending, increase your cover by 1. Or it's like if you have light cover, increase your cover by 1. And that will turn light cover into heavy cover. That also works if you have suppression and you have low profile. Suppression will increase your cover by 1. And then low profile will kick in and then you'll get heavy cover. The only other way you can get heavy cover behind light cover is if you have suppression, because suppression is different than just light cover. Like light cover doesn't, just add, but suppression adds by 1. Now 2 suppression, you probably already know this, but 2 suppression doesn't give you heavy cover. Any suppression tokens at all just raises your cover level by 1. What future ships do you see coming out for the Resistance and First Order for Armada and X-Wing? Well, Armada, I don't think they're going to do any just yet. And when they, I think it'll be post Episode 9. But like Episode 8 gave us a lot of Resistance ships, but we still only have 3 First Order ships, and the Supremacy's too big. I only think they would do something like the Supremacy if they did an Armada 2.0 and took a look at what's the biggest ship we will ever do and what's the smallest ship we'll ever do or we're capable of doing with that. And maybe the Supremacy is the biggest ship they'll ever do, and they would take up like the whole board and just move across, right? Or maybe it's just a non-moving ship. But then, think about what's the biggest ship you actually want to have on the tabletop. Maybe the First Order Dreadnought, I think, would be a really good example of like maybe the biggest ship you're ever planning to have. That or the Super Star Destroyer, because they're not exactly the same, but they're at least in the same ballpark, right? So then you plan for those to be really big models, but not like obscene. And then you make the Star Destroyers smaller. So like normal, right now a Star Destroyer is like this big in Armada. But if the Star Destroyer was like that big, like half the size, you would have so much of a better, you'd be so much easier to scale things, to the game and also get more, have these big epic battles instead of feeling like you're flying to a tiny little fleet, that would be nice. But I don't know. I think they'll do obviously they'll do the Resurgent because that's the most iconic for the First Order, and I think they'll do all the 4 ships that we saw in Last Jedi. All right, now for X-Wing, I think we'll definitely get a T-85, a New Republic T-85 X-Wing, and I think we'll get that TIE Interceptor. All the other stuff may end up going to Scum. I'm not sure. I should get fish. I might get fish. I don't think I'm going to get fish. Not anytime soon. Maybe once the kids are older, because the kids, I still have young children, by the way. And they sometimes like throw things and break stuff like all the time. And if I had fish, it would only be a matter of time before somebody was fighting and ran and cracked their skull against the fish tank or threw something, or somebody poured a bunch of salt in the fish tank or baking powder or Alka-Seltzer or something. I don't know. For X-Wing, what TIE variant would you like to see most? The new one from Solo. I think that would be a fun one, especially if it ends up having the cannon upgrade. That'd be kind of cool. Although cannons aren't as cool in the new X-Wing. Heavy laser cannon was really cool in X-Wing 1.0. Now it's just kind of all right. What's a good and cheap real money Legion army that you would recommend to a new player after the core set? Easy. Get a second core set. Done. For like Empire, for either one of those are going to be effective armies. They're going to work. And it's your best value. It really is. And if you're only playing one faction exclusively, then trade your Imperial stuff for another player's Rebel stuff or vice versa. Because then you'll have 4 core, which you can upgrade with their heavy weapons and their extra trooper and all that stuff. You'll have Vader or Luke, which are good commanders. They are good. Vader, you just have to position him right where you can get to the objectives, get to where the fighting is, and make sure you're double moving with him the first couple of times. Get him in the fight, and then he's very, very deadly. And then the speeder bikes are pretty good. They're really pretty good. And that should be available too. The Legion, get 2 core sets. It's your best value. Really, really good value. And you can build a full 800 point army out of 2 core sets worth of stuff. Just a great way to go. Beyond that, if you want a little more, I think the Rebel Commandos or the Scout Troopers are a really good value because they have 2 separate units and you can field both of them in one pack as 2 Special Forces units. Those are good. Those are very, very good. The extra commanders are really great, like Leia, Han, Veers, Palpatine. Everything's good. I actually have a what to buy first, and for Legion, I will be updating it later on this year once we get a couple more expansion packs out, and I have a little more content because it's mostly up to date. I think I have it up right up before Palpatine came out, and I even addressed Palpatine like he'll probably be good. You'll probably want him, and I think he's great. I think he's a lot of fun. But yeah, just 2 core sets, best thing to get right away. Because you need at least 3 core, so if 1 core set only gives you the 1 core, it's not. How do you feel about the Rebel Transport Flotilla, the GR-75 and Armada? It's great support ship. Bomber Command Center on there, have your B-Wings go nuts. It's a really good platform. let's see. If an ability provides a unit with a move during its activation, that move is not an action, therefore does not trigger abilities. Okay, that doesn't go against what I was just saying. It says during its activation. Yeah, it all depends on the context of where you read that. But trust me, I guess I can say it. I play tested Palpatine, so I know that pulling the strings does give a unit that has a move and free attack. It gives them the move and free attack. That's how Palpatine was. You know, that's how it was play tested. That's how it is. You know, unless they've changed it, Ninja changed it and didn't tell me. My name is on the rules insert as a playtester, so let's see. Can grenades hit repulsor vehicles? Yeah, Legion question. Can grenade? Absolutely, they can hit repulsor vehicles. You have to be at range 1, you know, and some the repulsor vehicles tend to be pretty fast, so it's not easy to do that. But yeah, they can absolutely hit. Now, I believe the Snowspeeder is immune to melee, so you wouldn't be able to melee them. But a grenade is not a melee attack. It's a ranged attack, right? It's a close ranged attack. And that's actually really good with those new fragmentation grenades, which are my favorite grenade, because they give you the offensive crit. It's really nice. All right, I may be missing some, and I apologize if I'm missing some of the questions. I only have probably about 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it, but because it's getting a little bit late. All right, let's see. What do I recommend for upgrades for the VT-49 Decimator and X-Wing 2.0? I don't think upgrades are as important in 2.0. I haven't flown. I think I've only flown TIE fighters for the Empire right now. But I mean, I think you want to put some of your good crew on there. The VT-49 the Decimator is a really strong, survivable ship, and so I think I would concentrate on crew more so than any of the other stuff. So your good support crew, like your Palpatine, Tarkin, Vader, that sort of thing. Maybe not those guys specifically. I'll be honest with you, like I haven't played as much X-Wing as I have the other games ever since 2.0 came out, and so I'm a little rusty on like trying to give strategy advice for X-Wing, because there's so much, like the whole game is all new. So usually in a game you're able to learn stuff like wave by wave and be like, oh, that's cool, oh, that's cool. But like with 2.0, it's just like all this stuff, and it's just overwhelming. And all the people, not all the people, but a lot of the people I used to play with are kind of similar, and so just haven't been playing it very much, and have been playing other things. So I'm a little behind on being able to, you know, just be like, oh, you should think about running this. I used to, you know, in 1.0 I was doing better with that. Like I used to be like, would run Mara Jade, and I would put, or you could put Palpatine on the Decimator, or he was actually even not bad with Vader, you know. But yeah. What is this shirt I am wearing? This is a Akbar, it's a trap shirt. I got this at Kohl's. Usually I wear, like, I have a lot of my own shirts. I have links like down in the description. I have a t-shirt shop, and those are usually for like the game shirts. And yeah, so those are fun. But I was actually working on making some more, but I just haven't gotten into it lately. What would be a good list for Vader in 2.0 X-Wing? Does he, I don't know, I put him on a Lambda or a Decimator. I think Lambda's really got improved, so I would probably put Vader on a Lambda. But Why don't I like Rebel Ion Troopers and Legion? Well, I don't like Ions because vehicles aren't competitive. Basically, the heavy vehicles aren't. Heavies aren't competitive. You're spending like 200 points on something, which is like you're spending 3 troopers worth of stuff on one unit that can't take objectives. Most of the objectives require a trooper unit leader to interface with them. And ATST it's fun, it's beautiful, it can do a lot of damage, but it's only a single attack. Only gives out 1 suppression. I mean, you can put the mortar on there. It can give out more suppression than 1. Also, it's got assault, so it can give out more than 1. But it's just it's not that good. It's not. I mean, because it's not that good because the game isn't just a straight up kill deathmatch. It's about objectives, and like first getting into Legion at the very beginning, it was like, oh, I'm gonna run this ATST. It's gonna be so cool. I'm gonna run 2 ATSTs. Oh, it's gonna be so cool. And then your opponent would just be like, okay, you shot like you shot me, but I'm hiding on a building, and I control the objectives. So, oh well, I have to walk all the way around there to get another good shot at you, and because and the thing is, you have to use blocking terrain. Like if you're going with a completely flat map, that changes everything. You're not supposed to play Legion on a completely flat map. So, I will say that your terrain will. If your terrain is vastly different from another person, you guys are going to have different opinions on different units in the game. I like to vary my terrain a lot, but I usually like to use big pieces of terrain, stuff that can totally block shots. But yeah, you're sorry for saying this so much, but do you know what Piet does in Armada? Yes, I do, and if you've said that a lot, I apologize that I may have missed it. He gives. I mean, it's already been. I mean, it was posted in the original article. It was just a little bit blurry, but yeah, basically he lets somebody get a token and use a token as the full command, but you have to exhaust him to do that. To let somebody use a token treat it as a full command dial, and so it's really good on a Super Star Destroyer because when they do a full command, they also get a token. So basically, if you can get a Super Star Destroyer like a squadron command, a token, if you have Gazanti Comsnet pass the Super Star Destroyer a squadron, and then the Super Star Destroyer does engineering, he reveals engineering, gets a token automatically because he's a huge ship, so he gets 150% engineering, so maybe like 6 points or whatever, and then he does a squadron command. He with the token, Piet upgrades the token to a full dial. Then he also gets the squadron dial plus, which instantly gives him the token right back. So then he gets a full squadron token and dial at the same time. So like what, 7? I don't know. It's like 6 squadrons or something like that, depending on which one you're running. So that's what Piet does. And if you put him on the interdictor, you can potentially use it twice. So if you want to run an interdictor with a Super Star Destroyer, the interdictor title would unexhaust Piet, then you could use him again for the interdictor. He'd be less useful on the interdictor, but it'd at least be something. How does one get involved in playtesting for FFG? There's a link there on the website. You can go try and playtest. It's a lot of work, though. It's not like oh, hey, we'll tell you all the cool stuff that's coming out. No, it's a lot of work. I actually don't do it anymore. I did for a while, and I don't do it anymore because it's a tremendous amount of work. Tremendous amount of work. I mean, to do it right, and I became overwhelmed. So I did it for a while. But yeah. How many ships in Armada should I get before getting squadron packs? You should get squadron packs right away. And ships right away. You should buy them concurrently. I would say go 2 for 1. Like every 2 new ships, then maybe get 1 squadron pack. Is a reasonable thing. However, lean more towards things that you particularly like. Like if you really want 3 ships, then get those 3 ships first, and then maybe get a squadron pack after that. But just the general rule of thumb, like 2 ships per 1 squadron pack, or 3 ships per 1 squadron pack, somewhere in there is a pretty good ratio. But I am going to go ahead and sign us off, guys. And if you like ion troops, that's fine. And they do work well against vehicles. They absolutely do. And if you're playing against somebody who likes to use vehicles, then they're going to work great. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't see a lot of people running vehicles, and especially the big vehicles. I just don't see a whole lot of it in my area. And you know, everybody's stuff is different. So but the Z6 is just so many dice though. And the other reason I like the Z6 so much more too is because I tend to have really good luck with white dice. Like if I roll those 6 white dice, I'm probably getting at least 3 damage through, which I'll take 3 damage over an ion token most times. All right, guys. I'm going to sign off now. If I missed some of your questions, just save them for the next time, or you can leave them in the comments below. And I want to thank you guys again so much for everything. And also thanks to my super chats as well, because that's awesome. You guys really helped me out. I definitely appreciate that. I want to thank you all again, and have a great evening. Good night.